Hey guys, what's up? Jesse here from Sweet Academy, helping you get to the next level in English and in life. And today we're going to read some body language. You know, it's said that 70% of what we communicate is through body language and how we communicate with our bodies. Whether that's true or not, you decide. But we're going to read some body language. We're going to watch one of Joe Rogan's podcasts where he interviews Michelle Phelps Roper. She used to be in a extremist religious sect, maybe borderline cult. But we're going to take a look at their conversation. She had left by this video, and we're going to just look at their conversations, how they confront and talk about tough issues, and how they disagree without arguing. Let's take a look. Now, if you haven't seen this interview or you haven't seen the podcast, I recommend that you listen to it because it's fascinating, and this young lady has a great vocabulary. She's a great person to listen to because she speaks clearly and she uses a great vocabulary. So you can learn a lot of English by listening to both of them, and she says a lot of interesting things. And I'll put a link in the description box below. Now you see here is her regular conversation. She has relaxed eye contact. She's thinking about what she wants to say. She's remembering stories. You can tell she's a very confident speaker. She has a calm demeanor. If you listen to her voice, it's a nice relaxed voice. She's just telling stories and remembering.
Oh, these poor kids, they were raised in this and they don't know any better. And at the time I was kind of indignant because I was like,
now you see here her scrunched face. And when she says indignant, it means kind of furious, upset, angry. And how she uses her voice, it goes up. And at the time I was kind of indignant. And the scrunched face. And that kind of shows that she's looking for the proper word because she doesn't feel that way now. She doesn't agree with it now. So that's what she's communicating. If you hear someone talking like that with a scrunched face, they're unsure how they want to say what they want to say. As you can tell here, she's very relaxed, very calm, and composed. Those are good words to say, calm and composed. Those are words that generally go together, to be calm and composed. But let's add an emotional section to it. When she's starting to get emotional, we're going to look at how she handles an emotional situation. She actually gets a little defensive, but they continue a civil conversation and have an emotional discussion in a civil way.
I see what you're saying, and I think that it gets a little weird when we're talking about people giving speeches on campus and then having other people shut down those speeches. Because I think that the person does, most of the things get out of hand.
Voices without the ability to resort to violence. This is the whole idea. Like we would voices, why? So that having the cops present,
right,
like and letting both sides have.
And you see now, also her eyebrows are more raised. Let's see, 21, 27, 43. Let's go back to where she's just telling another story and see if she raises her eyebrows in the same way.
Vessels of wrath made for destruction. So made.
Now you see they're relaxed. Her forehead is relaxed. Her eyebrows are down.
Why? So that having the
now
present.
You see how her eyebrows are up and her forehead is a little tense, right? She has the wrinkles. They're called wrinkles here because the conversation is starting to get a little heated.
Like, and letting both sides have their voices without.
Because, by the way, I should set up some context. She's talking about when she was a believer, how they would demonstrate at funerals. And they're talking about the First Amendment right to free speech. and public demonstration.
The ability to resort to violence. This is the whole idea, like we would in these letters that would.
And she's bringing herself back down. She's being civil, right? We can be emotional, but still be rational at the same time.
Go out to the cops was that the idea of having a buffer zone, like yes, we want to proclaim our message. We want you to be out there too. Like we loved, and honestly, we loved it when counter protesters were there because it just brought more attention to our message.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just think that you shouldn't. Obviously, it's not you anymore. But I just do not think.
And notice there that Joe Rogan was careful to use the word you. In English, we don't have another word for you. We should have another word for you. So you can mean you personally, or you can mean the universal you. It can mean everybody. That's one of the failures of English. I don't like that. I think we should use another word for the plural you. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He adjusts himself.
I understand that, but I just think that you shouldn't. Obviously, it's not you anymore.
And if you didn't catch that, obviously it's not you anymore.
But I just do not think that anybody, especially from an offensive group like that, should be able to allocate resources that are public use, like police.
Well, so we didn't make the decision, obviously. Like we didn't make the decision.
And you hear in her voice, she's getting a little emotional. Her voice is getting deeper. You can see the pitch in her voice get deeper and lacking air.
Anybody, especially from an offensive group like that, should be able to allocate resources that are public use, like police.
Well, so we didn't make the decision, obviously. Like we didn't make the decision for them to they decide okay, well, is this likely going to so they can either be proactive and set the buffer zone or be reactive, like we're calling the cops because we're getting punched or whatever.
And you see her more intense eye contact. There are a few things to notice. We talked about her eyebrows, which in this shot, they're not tensed up, but there they are. But the more intense eye contact, and then keep an eye on her mouth and notice it in yourself. Next time you have a heated conversation and you try to control yourself, notice how your mouth takes shape. You have an intense face. Here's a good shot of her face here. The tension up here, the intense eye contact. Her cheekbones are high. Her cheeks are raised a little high.
Or be reactive, like we're calling the cops because we're getting.
And she's really proving a point here. She wants to really prove her point.
And because they're going to go out no matter what. Even when they would say we're not going to protect you.
And here's the important part. She brings it back to reason. You see the change in her face. And if you're curious about what it is, look at the difference, how she comes back down.
They're going to go out no matter what. It's because so they can either be proactive and set the buffer zone or be reactive, like we're calling the cops because we're getting punched or whatever.
And there it's coming back down.
No matter what.
And you hear her voice. When you're in conversations, especially in other languages, you can pick up on these sorts of tells and these sorts of things, and it can really help keep composure.
Even when they would say, we're not going to protect you, we would go.
Right.
I mean, there were rare situations where, so for instance, when.
And she's back in storytelling mode. You see she's looking to the right, looking toward the right, which is she's accessing memory.
When Gabby Giffords was shot in Arizona, we had a couple of an FBI agent actually.
And you see what I mean? Before her intense eye contact, this is natural, just connection eye contact. Eye contact is very important, especially when you're learning another language and trying to communicate in another language. They communicate a lot.
Actually, I was going to say, so the thing is, so I was there during this conversation and my mystics, that's fine, I hear you, but
so reasonable.
Now they've continued to navigate through. That's important. When you're having a discussion, you probably don't have to let the anger last, right? Bring it back down and use reason. And now they're civil again. They're having a conversation. And then watch what Joe Rogan, how he navigates out of it.
That's fine, I hear you, but
so reasonable. It's so fascinating to talk to you because you're such an intelligent, reasonable person. It's almost impossible for me to imagine
So the first thing he did was compliment her, because he's appreciating her ability to stay rational, he noticed the tension building. He noticed the emotion coming out. He started with a compliment and appreciated the skill. And then part two,
see like the little bit of resistance to the idea of this being a First Amendment issue in the police, then you kind of go back to the church. I can see it boil up
and you see the genuineness in his smile. He's appreciating the emotional ride that she went on from the tension and then bringing it back down to reason. He appreciated that. He noticed that. And he started with a compliment. Then he mentioned what he noticed, and you hear her laughing in the background.
Side of you.
Well, it's just like we were talking about this a little bit ago. I mean, just
You see her mouth, her smile now is,
Side of you.
well, it's just like
her smile now is genuine. It's wider, it's bigger. The corners are going up. They're not going down like they were before. The high cheekbones, the relaxed cheekbones, I should say, and the controlled breathing.
we were talking about this a little bit ago. I mean, just the whole the importance of discourse in the marketplace of ideas. This is one, like
These are great ways to navigate out of a heated argument, out of a tense situation. Notice what the other person is communicating. When you notice these things in a conversation, her mouth, her nose, her cheekbones, eyes, forehead, how the other person, not her specifically, the other person uses their breathing, it can help you. It's power in a conversation. And with that power, it can help you control the level of a conversation, bring it more intense if it needs to be, bring it down if it needs to be, reading what the person is communicating to you from the heart. That's where this will help. And it will really help build deep relationships if used properly. I truly believe that. There's one other thing I'd like to draw to your attention, actually, before we leave. And that's a part she tells the Good Samaritan story. And you'll see a place here. She goes through 3 distinct emotions in the course of 2 seconds, maybe. When after she tells the story, then Joe Rogan makes a comment and she goes through 3 different emotions in around 2 seconds. Let's take a look at what I mean.
a sinner, repent. He went and helped him.
Right.
And he's like, where was that on our picket signs?
Where was that in your practice?
Yeah. Like, why didn't, exactly. Like,
Did you catch the 3 emotions? Let's watch it one more time.
he went and helped him.
Right.
And he's like, where was that on our picket signs?
Where was that in your practice?
Yeah.
1. That's the first one. Agreement. She agreed with what he said.
Why didn't, exactly.
That first exactly was an intense agreement, a stronger agreement, and almost saying, that's exactly right. I feel that exact same way.
Exactly.
And the third emotion is the second exactly. Why didn't I see that? Kind of almost disappointment, right? So you saw agreement, strong agreement, to disappointment. Let's watch that again.
Picket signs. Where he went and helped him.
Right.
And he's like, where was that on our picket signs?
Where was that in your practice?
Yeah. Like, why didn't, exactly. Like, why?
I just thought those were interesting. 3 emotions there. You could see them clearly, and you could see almost them change like that. And it's these exact tricks that I want to share with you in these videos that will help you. If you notice these tricks, if you can pick up on the body language that people are communicating to you, it will help the communication process go a lot easier, and it will help you learn the language as well. Okay, thank you. If you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing. If you're unsure about subscribing, then check out one more video and see if you like it. There's other cool worksheets and activities at sweetacademy.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.